Alertness is very essential in our lives. This alertness is important in our spiritual life also. Unless we are alert, by mistake, we may reject God when He comes to us, and by the same mistake, we may receive the devil, evil in our lives. But in both the cases, we are the losers. My dear sisters and brothers in Jesus Christ, today, as we know, begin the season of the Advent, the beginning of the new liturgical season. This Christmas we are preparing for, it is the December 25th. But in the past history, when we see in the beginning of the church, Christmas was celebrated at different days in October, in September, and so on. Only when Constantinople accepted the Christianity religion as the official religion, the day 25th of December was fixed to be the Christmas day. Because that was a time when the Romans were celebrating a feast to the sun god, S-O-N, S-U-N. Now, Christians, for us, the Son of Man is our Son, Son of Man, S-O-N. So, they thought this is quite fitting to take this Christmas, December 25th, to celebrate the Son of Man, the light of the world. And from that onwards, this Christmas day is fixed on December 25th. And the church gives a long time for preparation in order to celebrate this great feast of Jesus' nativity, Jesus' birth. In the beginning, there were 6 Sundays for the Advent of season of Advent, but later Pope Gregory the First shortened it to 4 weeks of preparation of the Advent. And this is the beginning of the new liturgical year. This Advent season ends with the 24th midnight, and we start the Christmas season, and up to season of Epiphany. Then we have a few weeks of ordinary times. Again, we start the season of the Lent, which ends up with the resurrection, the Easter. Then we have the season of Pasch, again followed by a few weeks of the ordinary times of the liturgical year, and that would end with the feast of Christ the King. So there are about 33 or 34 Sundays will be there in the ordinary times. Again, the season of Advent, the new beginning of the liturgical year starts. This is how the church has arranged the liturgy, the our sacrifices, so that that becomes a part of our lives. So today we begin the new season of the liturgy, that is the season of Advent. The season of Advent is nothing but a great invitation, a great reminder that we all need to be alert. We need to be watchful, because this refers not only to the second coming of Jesus, as we heard in the readings, but it also reminds us about our own end of our lives, and when God comes to us, we need to be accepting. And not only that, God comes to us every day in very many ways, and we need to be alert to recognize Him, to accept Him. Unless we are alert, we may reject Him by mistake. And similarly, evils also come to our lives in a disguise, and we need to be alert, otherwise, by mistake, we may reject, accept this evil. Before we come to that point, this Christmas has a great preparation. From the 10th century onwards, the practice of having the Christmas tree was started. The significance of this Christmas tree, it reminds us of the tree of the apple. The book of Genesis speaks about the first fall of our parents, and the tree of apple led humanity into sin. But Jesus, by the same tree, He brought forth salvation, that is the tree of the cross. So, in order to remind both these trees, we have got this Christmas tree. Then again, from 11th centuries onwards, Christmas carols, special songs were composed, and from 1223, St. Francis of Assisi got the real actual crib with actual live animals. He depicted the scene of the nativity of Jesus, and from that time onwards, we have the habit of practice of having crib with the small toy figures, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and other animals there. And then from the 15th, 16th century onwards, the German Protestants started the practice of having the green foliage with four candles and signifying peace, love, joy, and hope. And today we have lit this candle. So all these virtues we may be appropriating as our own in order to celebrate this Christmas. Christmas, it is true, it's a great social gathering and it's a season of joy, etc. But Jesus must be the reason for the season. Jesus must be the reason for the season. But unfortunately, today the Christmas has been so commercialized and it has been so seen from the business point of view. Except with Jesus, everything is there in the Christmas. And Christmas, someone said, Christmas is Christ miss. So we are missing Christ, but except Christ, everything else we have. But we need to remember that Christmas is a great commemoration of God coming to the world as a human person. This Christmas is really a great mystery. We do not know how God, who is beyond the space and time, can subject himself into space and time. And why should God subject himself to space and time? So that we, who are the subjects of space and time, can understand, can interact, can love this God who is beyond space and time. For us, philosophically or metaphysically speaking, it's very difficult to understand somebody to be beyond space and time. Because you and I need a space to exist, right? I need this space to stand or another place to stand. You need that place to sit. So we need a space to exist because we are of matter, material beings. And also we need time to exist. You see, there is a particular time we are born in this world, now we are living, and after some time we will disappear. So we need time to exist, but God is beyond the space and time. It's very difficult for us even to imagine. Why? Because we are timed beings. Whatever we do, there's a time. In our speaking, there's a time. In our thinking, there's a time. We cannot speak any one meaningful sentence without the reference of time. Supposing I say a few words together, Christmas, celebration, mass, people. What does it mean? Doesn't mean anything unless there is a verb, right? So any sentence becomes meaningful only with a verb, and verb is nothing but reference to the time. There's a time in speaking. There must be a space between each and word, every word that we speak. If we speak too fast, we cannot understand. If we speak too slow, we cannot understand. So there's a time. There's a time in breathing, right? There's a time in our pulse rate. If it is too much problem, too less problem. There's a time in our walking. Sometimes we walk fast or sometimes we walk slow, but there is a time, there is a rhythm in walking. So everything there is a time, and we cannot even think of anything without any reference to time. Just think of anything without any reference to time. I had a cup of coffee this morning, right? Already had is a verb reference to time. That shows how much we are bound by time, right? And the words when we speak also, if the time gap between the words is increased or reduced, the whole meaning will change, right? Supposing I say a sentence, she gave her cat food. You understand? She gave her cat food. Supposing I say, she gave her cat food, the whole meaning changes because the milliseconds changes between the cat and the food. She gave her cat food, meaning is different. That means she fed her cat with milk or dry fish something, but she gave her cat food. This her may be Mary, her friend. She gave to her friend what the cat is eating. Anyway, I don't want to go more on that, then it becomes a grammar class, right? So the point I want to make is that if you reduce even a small duration of time, the whole meaning changes, and that shows how much we are bound by time. So for us to understand a God who is beyond time is not possible, right? I always give this simple analogy for us to understand because we are all in the contours of time, past tense, present tense, and future tense. No, three tenses of the time: past, present, future. We are present to time, so this makes sense. But when time is present to God, this division does not make sense for God, past, present, future. I give this analogy. Imagine a spider is crawling from this lectionary, this from the middle and crawling towards this end. Okay? It starts from here, crawling in the middle and moving towards this end. When this started here, after some time it is crawling in the middle, this spot will be the past tense. And the place where it is moving, it is present tense, and this end will be the future tense for the spider. But for me, who is standing here, I can look at all the three spots at one shot. The past, the present, and the future of the spider becomes one present tense for me, who is able to stand and look at all the three spots at one shot. We can understand God this way. See, God is above everything, and our past, present, future, everything becomes one eternal present tense to Him. And it's very difficult for us to understand because we are bound by space and time. And that is why in the book of Isaiah we find, unless God has taken initiative to reveal Himself to us, we will not even know that there is a God. And because God has come down to us to be born as a human person amidst us like one of us, we know that there is God. So, my dear friends, this God comes in search of us, and we are called to prepare to receive Him. Unfortunately, God comes to us in a disguise. God comes to us in a disguise. God does not come in His original appearance. I don't know what was that original appearance because none of us have seen God. In book of in the epistle, St. Paul says, nobody has seen God so far, and we are seeing God only in a blurred mirror, no image. So we have not seen God face to face. However, usually we give that picture of God with a big white beard and sitting in the midst of clouds. This side one dozen angels, this side another one dozen angels singing hallelujah, gloria, etc. That's the picture of God. Supposing God comes to us and stands in the midst of us with all His angels, will any of us reject that God? We'll say, please come, we adore you, please stay with us. But God does not come in His original appearance, but He comes to us in a disguise. That means He comes to us in the brothers and sisters, with our family people with whom we live. So God expects us to accept Him, to recognize Him first in the brothers and sisters with whom we live, then it makes sense to accept God. That is why He comes to us in disguise. At the same time, devil also comes to us in a disguise. Suppose devil in its original appearance. I don't know what the original appearance of the devil. Have you seen devil? If you're not, perhaps you can look at the mirror, right? We may get some idea of it, right? Suppose the devil comes to us with a long right teeth and horns and big wings and all in black, completely dressed up. If the devil comes to us, will any of us accept, invite the devil? We'll say, get away from here. So devil comes to us in a disguise, so that by mistake we may receive him, we may accept the evils in our lives. So God and evils both come to us in a disguise, but the purpose is different, of course. But we need to be alert, my dear friends. Unless we are alert, we may reject God who comes to us. No, this alertness is very important. We all know in our ordinary day-to-day lives. Unless we are alert, we may, when we climb the steps, unless we are alert, we may slip one step and fall down. Unless we are alert when we light the candle for incense, we may burn our fingers. Unless we are alert when we deal with the electrical apparatus, we may get electrocuted. So we know we need to be alert for our safety. Similarly, we need to be alert when we study. No, unless we are alert, we may miss. Now students are busy with their online classes. It's more difficult to be alert in the online classes. We know they need to be alert to learn. Similarly, we need to be alert to preserve our relationships, right? Without alertness, we may say something, we may do something which affects our relationship, but the same alertness is essential for our spiritual life also. So, my dear friends, today, as Jesus invites us in the gospel, with the parable, the workers need to be alert because they do not know when the master comes into their house. So we need to be alert because God comes to us in search of us. He comes to us in very many ways, and we need to be alert in order to receive Him, in order to accept Him. So Christmas, we should keep Jesus at the center. Jesus must be the reason for the season of Christmas, and this Christmas becomes really meaningful only we receive that Jesus when we prepare ourselves to receive Him. So, in our words, in our actions, in our attitudes, let us be alert so that we may receive God in our lives, and let us not wait the last coming of Jesus. We do not know when that second coming of Jesus is going to take place. We do not know when our death is going to take place, but God comes to us in very many ways, very many times, everyday, ordinary, day-to-day lives. We need to be alert. Therefore, unless we are alert, we may miss God who comes to us, and unless we are alert, we may receive evil who comes to us, and unfortunately, both come to us in the disguise. Let us think about it today.